What are some examples of movie logic that don't work in real life? Whenever someone is in a spacesuit, there are always lights inside the helmet to illuminate the person's face. This is, of course, so we know which character we are looking at. But in real life, having lights inside your helmet shining on your face would greatly hinder your ability to see your surroundings. It's like having the light on in your bedroom while trying to see outside in the dark. Every window in Paris always overlooks the Eiffel Tower. People jumping through windows, breaking them and landing on the shards, but not getting a scratch. Okay, we need to hack into the Department of Defense mainframe. How long should that take? 12 hours. You have 30 seconds. Hit 3 keys. We're in. Grand romantic gestures don't convince someone hot on the fence about you that you're worth it. Just that you're probably a nutcase. Did you want to go to dinner tomorrow? Sure. I'll see you then. See you when. In that scene where the good guy gets completely surrounded by bad guys with guns. I understand the principle, but if those guys actually opened fire, they'd just end up shooting each other in the face. Fields of Fire people. Knocking people out. In the movies it's a quick smack to the noggin and that person is out cold for a few minutes/hours. In real life, depending on how hard you hit someone, they can be out for a second or two. Any longer and there will be significant brain damage, knocking them out for several hours. Well, they are probably dead. Finding an easy parking spot next to the building you're going to, usually out in front. Stopping in the middle of a giant battle with people dying all around you to kiss a loved one, or hug or high-five a fellow mate. Sitting in the back seat of a car and casually reaching forward to snap the neck of the person in the driver's seat. It does next to nothing if you do it like they do in movies, and it makes for a very awkward ride home. Police have to account for every bullet fired. Sheer amount of paperwork behind the scenes in most crime and police thriller movies would be unreal. Like 99% of car jumps are funny, most cars would destroy the suspension or at least blow out the tires. When they show what is supposed to be a sloppy teenage rock band playing, and yet everything is perfect. The drummer's keeping excellent time. The vocals and background vocals are spot on. And the guitarist is nailing perfect bends and playing at Satriani levels. It drives me nuts every time a movie has a scene where a person is hiding on the ceiling a few feet above someone else and they never see them. Just because the camera is angled so the audience can't see them doesn't mean a real person wouldn't notice Tom Cruise hanging from their ceiling fan. A person gets shot and a tiny trickle of blood comes out and they die immediately. Or the massive blow-ups of cars and things that wouldn't really blow up that dramatically. Flying airplanes and helicopters extremely low to the ground. There's absolutely no reason to fly a helicopter between buildings during a car chase. There is absolutely no reason to fly an airplane 200 feet above the ground when they can effectively drop bombs from miles in the air. The main character is an absolute beast and fights with common mercenaries, then suddenly loses all of their muscles in the final battle, and it takes 50x longer than it should. That's not how fights work. People who work in retail, or as a waiter/waitress just saying "cover me" to their co-worker and leaving in the middle of a shift to go take care of a personal matter, catch a murderer, etc. You can't just tell a waitress to cover twice as many tables like that. It won't work. And you won't work either, cause you'll get fired. When someone walks up to a character having a conversation and tells the other person, "Could you give us a minute?" and the other person walks away like it wasn't rude. Wife prepares massive breakfast spread every morning. Husband grabs coffee and takes one bite of bacon before heading out the door. When the good guy follows the bad guy in a car and the bad guy never notices, even though they are the only two cars in the road. Kissing a girl in the middle of an argument isn't romantic. Also, repeatedly pursuing a woman who rejects you isn't cute or romantic, it's creepy and scary. When there's a large crowd, and they push everyone out of the way to get through. Yeah, that's not how it would go down in real life. Character 1, you did a bad thing. Character 2, wait, I can explain what happened. Character 1 runs away like a child before an explanation can occur. If the girl says no, don't listen. Keep pestering her and hurting yourself until you hurt yourself enough that she finally gives in. That's how you earn movie love. That, or share just a single scene with the girl, and then after the adventure is over you can kiss out of nowhere and the movie will pretend you had a whole romantic subplot when there wasn't any. Buying something huge, like a house or a car, as a big romantic gesture without ever discussing it with your significant other. Like no, it's not sweet that you spent tens of thousands of dollars without their input. You gotta communicate, boo. A smartphone isn't a portal into some digital universe by which you can run some terminal commands and suddenly control the orbit of a spy satellite. How everyone has money all the time, except when not having money is a reason for the character's current trouble. Like in the second season of The Punisher, this guy, Billy Russo, escapes from police custody at the hospital. Like 2 scenes later you see the guy just knocking back shots at the bar. I have a job, and I still have to consider my budget if I wanna go out to the bar and this guy just changed out of a hospital gown. Okay, so this one's a little specific. That scene in Die Another Day where, spoilers, Halle Berry starts drowning because the room she's trapped in that's made of ice is starting to melt and fill the room. If there's enough melted ice to fill a room, then there's gotta be an opening somewhere. Ice doesn't just create water out of nowhere. When it melts, it disappears and, well, melts. That one has literally bothered me for years. Practically anything to do with guns. How they fire. What they can fire through. Their general accuracy or lack of it. Bullet counts. Firing through water. Reloading. Blowing up stuff with guns. I could go on. I'm saying this knowing that reloading the weapons they use should be assumed to happen off screen. Could you imagine movies with heavy gunfire being 30 minutes longer to watch than reload every time? This doesn't bother me, but most other attributes do. Stuffing a cloth in someone's mouth doesn't gag them. No, really, when tied up, they don't have to sit there and wait for their rescuer to pull it out. In movies, where people get stranded on islands/remote places, they never seem to lose their glasses/contacts. If your ship sunk and you were washed up on an island, your glasses/contacts would most likely have fallen off or have been at least damaged in the process. That the extremely hot 20-something girl really will invest all her time and energy into fixing the horribly depressed male lead of average attractiveness. Love/hate relationships. The storyline where they hate each other and then suddenly realize they love each other is complete bull. In my experience, when 2 people hate each other, they really hate each other. Just watched Revenge. Woman is skewered with a tree. She then walks across a desert losing several gallons of blood. She then gets high on peyote and burns the wound shut, leaving a perfectly flat but slightly sooty abdomen with a hint of a scar where a literal stake had been impaling her. Then she runs around the desert in her underwear murdering the bad guys. Characters cutting the palm of their hand in a dramatic show of fidelity/courage/sacrifice, and then going about their business, holding a gun or other weapon perfectly in the injured hand, with no reference to the injury. This is especially frustrating as palm cuts hurt like hell because our hands are so sensitive and full of nerve endings. It is incredibly impractical to lacerate your palm like they do in the movies. Climbing in vents. Rectangular vents are hardly used to distribute air. To ensure correct pressure and distribution of air, the size gets smaller the further out, normal in a room, is between 100 to 315 centimeter diameter, which means you wouldn't manage to get inside. Climbing inside would generate a lot of noise from the airflow you disrupt. Div equipment in the ducts to ensure correct pressure would make it for a short crawl, even if you managed to squeeze inside.